Once the frame is pulled up on one side, it will lock into place, and it will allow me to do the same thing on the other side. And then I'll continue to get it up to the point where it's close to the height of the ceiling. Each click represents approximately about a 1-inch increment in height, and allows me to position it exactly up to the height that I want to. As long as the height of the ceiling that I'm trying to reach is not greater than 10 foot 6 inches, I'll always be able to reach it with the top of the foam gently touching against the top of the ceiling tile itself. Now the ECU2 can be used for one of the first purposes it was designed for. As a modular unit, in this particular format, it's used solely as a standalone unit with the intent of accessing safely a ceiling tile. And the ceiling tile that will dislodge, above which is a very large plenum of air, and we're going to take all of that air, and with the assistance of a negative air machine that can flange in and pull the vacuum necessary, will contain all the microscopic dust and debris that would fall normally out of that ceiling plenum. In order to get access to the actual ceiling cavity itself, we can unzip this door, or unzip the side door and walk in and gain access to a zip-out envelope on the top to gain access to the ceiling tile safely. 1 or 2 employees can fit inside the envelope and gain access to the ceiling tile. We also have high flaps. They're on both sides of the short sides of the rectangle, and these flaps will allow you in tight quarters of corridors to place in long runs of cable or tubing that can run up to 10 feet or longer in length and go up at a very strong straight angle up into the ceiling cavity itself. This will allow large pieces and long pieces of equipment that could go up and do rework of piping and cable inside of the ceiling cavity plenum to be done anywhere in the ceiling cavity area that you can have access to the ceiling tile dislodgement. Now, once in this fashion, this particular unit is used for primarily a maintenance purpose. It's used primarily to access the ceiling cavity. But the nice thing about the ECU2 is it has multifunction capability, one of which is the side room door itself, the one zippered on this side and the one on the opposite side, allows you to take the frame and come up against the sidewall, and in so doing, we can allow sidewall access, which in hospitals today is very much important, and it's becoming more and more in use. By gaining sidewall access, we're allowing ourselves to gain access to do work on a sidewall. We would flange in a wall flange that would extend out about 8 inches past the frame on both of the long sides of the frame, tape up against the outer wall of the area that we're working in, and allowing us basically from within the envelope to break through the wall and gain access to sidewall. And in doing that sidewall work, hospital maintenance facility could be using that type of work to put in a new drinking fountain, an electrical panel, or to maybe find a source of an annoying water leak that they've discovered was within the wall itself. By gaining access to the second use of the ECU2 frame, the same ceiling quarter deployment of the frame will allow you to use it to go upwards, or we can go sideways and gain sidewall access. The neat thing also about the ECU2 frame is that with the same wall flange, we can use the wall flange that's used to go sideways. We can envelope a door and go to a single patient room, and with the assistance of a negative air machine, we can draw the room negative to the CDC guidelines and make it a temporary airborne infectious isolation room. So the 3 major uses of the standalone frame of the ECU2 is to allow us to go safely upward to reach ceiling tiles and gain long trusses of cable or pipe to gain access to those to get up into the plenum. We have the ability to go sideways and do sidewall work as needed, and we have the ability to frame to a single door and making an airborne infectious isolation room when needed in the case of an emergency. Now, the ECU2 frame also has the ability to be used as in conjunction with another frame. It's made with the idea that as a modular unit that it can in fact be connected with a 5-foot connector cuff, and with another ECU2 frame, it can form what we would call an ECU2 bundle. And the value to doing the deployment of the bundle itself comes into play when we have the quarter flange. The ECU2 frame has been placed in this particular hallway corridor. It is 8 feet wide, and it's attached to it is the accessory, the quarter flange accessory. Quarter flange itself has enough material to fit a quarter wider than the current quarter that we're in now. Has enough material to fit approximately a width of 10 feet to a height of approximately 10 feet. And to this particular setting, we're about an 8-foot drop ceiling and an 8-foot height wide corridor. The quarter flange itself has the ability to go in and around handrails and bumper guards for the crash carts, and make an effective airtight seal in any quarter in which it's deployed. The nice thing about the accessory itself is it can allow a hospital to put into effect a quarter flange with the ECU2 and a bundle accessory including a 5-foot connector cuff and a second ECU2 frame to allow an effective airlock to be created to allow a gurneyed access patient to come and enter effectively the airlock without having the air from the isolation area backtrack or contaminate the general population quarter from which the patient first was wheeled in. Once the patient is delivered through the gurney or through the airlock itself and deposited into the floor of the isolation area, any of the patient rooms in this side of the quarter flange in the isolation area can be utilized to deposit the patient in one of the patient beds. The beauty of this particular application is that the quarter flange itself gives the hospital ultimate flexibility in giving them the latitude to create an isolation zone and a number of beds inside of a particular wing of a hospital that heretofore would have been a general population area. The quarter flange itself is held in place by a thick 1-inch wide strip of adhesive vac Velcro, which is laid across the sidewalls, across the T-bar on the top of the ceiling, and across the floor. And then inside of the quarter flange is stitched in the loop-style Velcro that mates up directly against the hook-style Velcro that the tape has been laid to allow the airtight seal to take place. Once deployed, this deployment can take place for as long a period of time as needed, and when possible it can be removed and moved to another spot of the hospital. The standard accessory of the quarter flange being zipped into the envelope of the ECU2 frame and the second ECU2 frame with the 5-foot connector cuff can all be deployed by 2 hospital personnel in approximately 40 minutes at an average work speed. The beauty behind what we're talking about is it gives us the ability to allow any particular area of the hospital utilized for general population use to be converted into an isolation area of the hospital. The quarter flange itself is also capable of doing things other than creating an isolation capability for the hospital. It can be used to bookend a corridor, a long run of corridor, for a construction project that may run the entire length of the corridor and end at the end of a work area. At the other end of that work area, another quarter flange can be deployed and bookend the entire construction area, and keeping all the containment and all the dust and debris that's created within the construction site just within the corridor itself. The hospital can still maintain its normal operation in and around the construction zone without the quarter flange interfering with that application as long as the construction zone itself is contained on both ends by a quarter flange. Utilizing a ECU2 frame with the accessory piece of the quarter flange added in gives the hospitals the ultimate flexibility to do as large a construction work as they want during the normal course of operation for a hospital, gives them added flexibility of going to convert any floor of a hospital that they want to convert for isolation use, and allows them also to give them the opportunity to use the ECU2 bundle in a safe manner to allow gurney transport of patients that need to be deposited from a general population into an isolation area.